Hello and welcome, my Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, vocation read for January and February 2021. I'm your reader, Markangelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Productions, Leo Rising, the Archangel of Lions, Markangelo Lyons, but you can call me Mal. Hello, my felines, my fellow felines, how are you? Very glad to be serving today, Virgo, that I am, but I am Leo rising, and don't worry, ladies, I didn't cut off my hair. You all freak out when I wear a hat. just didn't feel like doing it today, so it's keeping it under my hat, so to speak. So let's get up in this reading, shall we? It is a work, career, vocation read looking at your life purpose, right? What your survival, your creativity, your spiritual calling, all of that in 3 levels of power using 9 cards from 3 different decks. Caroline Myss archetype deck to show us the soul powers being developed in your work, career, vocation. It's all your spiritual path. Your spiritual path goes straight through your work, career, vocation. Then we will look at what's going on inside of you, your experience of it internally with Daughters of the Moon. And then we will look at what's going on externally with the Mythic Tarot. Cool? It is a general read. Please take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know the deal. And there is a link to a video by Caroline Myss. This is her archetype deck many years ago, talking about the 3 levels of power, if you'd like to look into that, because you can look at anything in your life through 3 levels of power. It's quite a fascinating revelation, including the chakras, and I'll explain all that as I go along. If you like chakric landmarks, so to speak, I'll be doing whatever they tell me to do. Ready? So yeah, stay in the present moment, both feet on the floor. If you can, focus on your breath, and let's do this, my Leonines. I love you. Breathe. Oh yeah, here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need 3 cards for the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, perhaps myself included, in our work, career, and vocation. 3 levels of power, please. What is the dominant archetype for our work, right? Our survival intuition, what we do to survive, right? That kind of on the ground, turn left, turn right, dealing with the physical world, all right? What's the dominant archetype going on in our career, our heart, throat, third eye, crown stuff, right? Our mental, emotional world, our emotional passions and hungers and thirsts, our creativity and our creative intuition. 2nd level of power, dominant archetype is there. And for our vocation, our spiritual calling, 8th chakra, visionary intuition, right? Following our star, following the golden guidance, our grace. Dominant archetype done. Let's see who we're. Keep in mind, oh, well. Okay. We have another powerful set here. I'll get to those in a minute, but just remember these cards have the shadow attribute and the light attribute. The shadow attribute is what's supposed to be triggering. It's supposed to be triggering. It's the lead. It's the toxic stuff you don't want to look at. Or if you know about it, you don't want anybody to know about it. It is covert. It is a private or hidden agenda. The light attribute is what is being developed in your work, career, and vocation in these 3 levels of power. And it is possible to bring them all into alignment, just like you would want to get all 8 chakras. I always work with the 8th chakra above the head, the star center, the soul center, whatever you want to call it, right? To get that in alignment. And that is an ongoing journey. It's not a once and done. Right? Okay, so here we go. In your work, how you survive in the world, you've got the hero archetype, which I love the hero archetype, but do keep in mind the shadow of the hero is the villain, right? The shadow attribute, escapism and a false sense of heroism, almost like the anti-hero, right? Like the Punisher and stuff like that. If you want to go there, the light attribute, passion for a journey of personal empowerment. And that's the thing. If you can look at the world we're in right now, everything has changed. Everything is different, right? So if you can see your work life, how you survive, as not just about surviving, although that's obviously important, food, clothing, shelter, right? Clean water, that, that kind of stuff. is that there is a journey of personal empowerment here. So expect mountains to climb, expect a hero's journey. And really, if you get a chance, Google the hero's journey and the name Joseph Campbell, right? The Power of Myth. I mean, he wrote so much. He's such a genius. He's got to be one of my spirit guides. I love him so much. Because my whole life is the hero's journey. It really is. And all of us really are. That's why we're drawn to movies like Star Wars and, of course, the Avengers and Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, and all that stuff. It's all the hero's journey, right? So what we've got going on in our career doesn't shock me at all. We've got the bully archetype. Now, because it's internal, right? Heart, throat, third eye, and crown, really pay attention to this, because this isn't necessarily about dealing with an external bully. In this position, the shadow attribute conceals deep fears behind verbal or physical abuse. Now, think about internalizing that, right? Well, maybe not the physical abuse necessarily, although I've been known to, not necessarily a cutter that way, but you know, I'll eat an entire chocolate chip, bag of chocolate chip cookies, Nantucket's, Pepperidge Farm. Are you kidding? That's a little abusive, right? Sugar is not necessarily our friend all the time, right? But certainly verbal abuse. God, when I can't find my keys, the shit comes out my mouth at myself. And I'm like, whoa, take it down a notch. Because the light attribute highlights your tendency to intimidate others, which apparently I intimidate people. People have come up to me after they've known me for a while and said, you know, when I first saw you, I was terrified of you. You're so intimidating. I'm like, really? I'm such a fucking goofball. But, you know, Leo rising, plus I'm Mars conjunct Leo rising, right? So that is something in my career. I must intimidate people. Believe me, no need, although I am Leo rising. But here's, I think, the key for us. Helps you confront the inner fears that bully you, right? And that's the thing, to really have the courage, right? Very much a Leo thing, to dive into our emotional pain when it rises, right? To face our fears within ourselves, which is absolutely essential for the hero's journey, right? Because when you don't do that, that pain, that fear ends up possessing you and you end up doing villainous things, right? You may not even think them villainous at the time, right? And here's the big one, ready? In the 8th chakra, the vocation, the wounded child archetype. Now, everybody has a child archetype. Not everybody has the wounded child archetype, but I would think that would be in the majority. The shadow blames all dysfunctional relationships on childhood wounds, resists moving on through forgiveness. This one's big about forgiveness, so it doesn't shock me that it's in the 8th chakra. Because when you get up in the 8th chakra, you get glimpses of the divine plan, that things couldn't have happened any other way, and that you are a soul that was chosen to play a role in this world that had wounding in their childhood. The light attribute, and this is a total calling. You just might not be aware of this. Look at the relationships you've been in. How many wounded children have you been? I mean, I've dated so many of them in adult form. Awakens compassion and desire to serve other wounded children. Hello, look at what I do for a living. I'm always talking inner child work, and this is an indication that inner child work in some way, shape, or form, either the more spiritual meditative form or the counseling psychotherapy, there's a blend in there. There's a spectrum. Opens the learning path of forgiveness. Goodness gracious. The hero, the bully, the wounded child. We're off and running. Let's get some clarity on this. What is the personal experience for the Leo collective in this? Please take a nice deep breath. My goddesses of fire in the sign of Leo. Please, 3 cards for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in our work, career, and vocation, January 2021, please. In our work, we've got the hero archetype. Please clarify. In career, we've got the bully archetype. Please clarify. In our vocation, we've got the wounded child archetype, and everybody's got the child archetype, so there's something planetary about humanity going on here in the vocation. Can't wait. I'm gonna flip them. And there's the Leo card. Okay. Well, the hero, heroine, right now, your experience is being at a crossroads, indecision, not sure what you want to do. You've got the creativity, right? Mahueha, Polynesian fire goddess, right? Absolutely, right? And so, yeah, you might be the hero on your work journey, what you do to survive, lower 3 chakras, right? Root, sacrum, solar plexus, really being the hero on the ground in the physical world, but at a crossroads, a place of indecision in terms of what you want, maybe not so much what you think. I'm also hearing not just what you want, but why you want it. That is always the balance, isn't it? Oh, we know what we want for the most part, but are we afraid to look at why we want it, right? Is it about escapism or a false sense of heroism, just to overcome the obstacles in my career since 1998 when I started drawing the circle productions, but I've been working in the metaphysical spiritual industry since 1980 something, my first crystal job in Porter Square, Massachusetts in the 80s, right? So, we come to crossroads, we come to this place, well, do I want to do that or do I want to do that? It's not so much a mental thing, it's a desire thing. So, of course, with this bully, right? This bully archetype inside of us, totally, you know what I'm hearing? Damned if you do, damned if you don't in terms of the bully archetype. Because if you go that way, you could possibly fail. But if you go that way, well, then you'll just stagnate. It's hard. It's a hard thing, particularly in career. Like how many people are working jobs to survive in order to do what they do creatively in terms of their career, at home, outside of work, that kind of stuff. But here you've got the Leo card, right? 5th house, Chantico, fixed fire. This would be the Queen of Wands in the tarot. And what she's doing there, she's got a baby there, right? She's got her kid on the ground there, but she's baking loaves, right? So she takes the cornmeal and the water and all the ingredients, makes it into a loaf and then puts it in a fixed fire, right? Puts it in an oven. So there is great creativity inside of you that is totally in alignment with at least your sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, right? That Leo creativity, which also means immense courage. So it might be that your thoughts, where'd you go, right? Because this is about the fears, right? Your water and air, you're right, your element of thought and your element of emotion, water, and your element of air, thought, really sort of creating that storm cloud, right, is kind of what that picture looks like for the bully archetype, that, you're burning through it. Use your creativity, even if no one ever sees it but you, right? Get it out, use your creativity in some way, or at least talk with those voices inside of yourself. It's very Gestalt therapy, but it's also inner child work too. And so here we go, oddly enough, the Virgo card, right? 9 of Pentacles, Lada, right? Definitely a maiden of spring kind of vibe there, right? With the flowers and the birch twigs and the bunnies and the goats. So there is something very innocent here. But this talks about, if not an actual Virgo in your life that you might have a wounded child contract with, it does happen, and those can sometimes be your best friends. There is a forgiveness lesson here, and I will say, being a Virgo, I have 4 planets in Virgo, 2nd house, because I'm Leo rising, definitely affects my work, my career, my 2nd house stuff, my long-term values. So 6th house, though, the house of Virgo, is about health and occupation, right? How what you are occupied with affects your health, and your health affects what you're occupied. It is that taking account in your life. So if you are holding on to something, resisting forgiveness, it is affecting the inner fears that bully you and your creativity, because that child of your heart, when it feels safe, it's free to create, it's free to dream. But if it's wounded and it's holding on to guilt, either its own or somebody else's, and at the end of the day, does it even matter? People have said to me, well, should I start forgiving me? Should I start forgiving them? I'm like, just start being willing to forgive whatever is rising up inside of you, whatever is rising up outside of you. And sometimes the only way to forgive it is to say, this sucks, I hate it, but I want to forgive this, even if I can't right now. So I forgive myself for not forgiving. It's a little bit of a Louise Hay, you can heal your life trick that has come back into my mind. But also I will say the work of Matt Kahn, he's really good with that inner child stuff. He just says the heart chakra is your inner child. And it's like, oh, that just simplified everything for a healer, which I am, right? So I get it. Why wouldn't you be intimidated, right? If you're bullying yourself in your creativity, heart, throat, third eye, and crown, you don't know which way to go, but you're the hero. You are the hero here. But remember, what's really going on here on a spiritual level is a wounded child who is in a process of healing. But what are you occupied with? Are you leaving that wounded child out of the picture? It hears everything, it sees everything, it feels everything we go through, and remembers all of it. So there might be a forgiveness practice here for you that is part of your calling, because you don't want to drag that stuff on the hero's journey. You're going to have it, everybody does, right? And then there's the collective aspect of it, what's going on planet Earth in general, right? All the division and all that, you know. But we're coming into a time of unity. But if we can't do that with our own child, right? To be one with our own child and say, kid, I love you no matter what happens, then things can get a little wonky, right? Wonky. Here's a kid word. Willy Wonky and the Cocoa Factory. I know it's not the right word. Breathe. Mythic Tarot. My gods of fire in the sign of Leo. Please, 3 cards in clarity for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign in their work career. I should say our work career vocation, because this makes total sense to me. I've been doing these readings for myself and clients for decades, this particular lineup, or at least the work career vocation reads. So please, January, February 2021, please clarify our work career vocation for the Leo collective. What's that look like on the outside, that hero, heroine? What that look like on the outside with that bully archetype, and what's that look like in our vocation with the wounded child archetype? Let's find out. A 1, a 2, a 3. 3. You have got the card of the moon. So intellect might not be helping you so much with this as much as intuition, but things are clouded on the outside, and why wouldn't it be? Everything's been stirred up in the past, let's say year. It's more than that, but year. Everything has become uncertain in the physical world, but you know, the hero is never given a guarantee. It's like you have to take the journey, right? Whether it's Greek myth, DC, or Marvel comics, right? These patterns are in the collective zeitgeist because it's a mirror of what we're going through in our lives right now. But will you be a hero or a villain? And can you be aware of your survival intuition? This is the goddess Hecate, by the way, queen of the crossroads, I call her, right? And as she is known, some call her goddess of the crossroads, I call her queen of the crossroads, right? Because you better come with respect when you have a life-changing decision. And that really ups this. This isn't just a choice. Do I want to go here? Do I want to go there? What do I want? This with Hecate there, you are being tested. As a hero will be, but not pass-fail litmus test. Where are you on the hero's journey? Where is your courage in terms of facing your fears? And who do we got on top of that one there? We've got the 2 of Pentacles, kids. So, you know, you're juggling, right? You're juggling between bravery and bullying. Right now, the shadow side of, I know it's written on the card, but really the shadow side of the bully is the coward. It really is. So every bully is really a coward on the inside because they won't face their own fear, their own wounds. So this is saying you are juggling this, and why wouldn't you? Don't beat yourself up for that, but this is why this is a genius healing reading for my Leos here. I really hope more people see this because everybody's going through this, but particularly with the Leo card there, and creativity and this wounded child, it all makes sense. Because in your vocation, you've got the wounded child with the Virgo card and the 5 of Pentacles, feeling left out, feeling trapped, feeling impoverished, feeling not invited to the party, right? That child inside of you, like maybe this isn't just a wounded child, it could very much be a touch of the orphan child archetype as well, and usually they come in pairs. And of course you have more than one child archetype sub-pattern. I got them all, I'm pretty sure. So I have different gods and goddesses to represent them, right? To kind of help me with that, but that's, you know, that's my work. But certainly I do inner child work every day, and it's not really work. I sit there, I go, you okay, sweetheart? And when I watch something or if I get triggered, it's like, okay, pull back. You okay, sweetheart? Just like I had a son. But inside of my heart, I also have a couple of sons and a daughter, right? In my heart, my inner child. So really put this all together, and I will do so in a prayer. Please take a nice deep breath. My collective pantheons of the divine, may the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need to bring their work, career, and vocation into alignment, working with the wounded child as they occupy themselves with the healing of their inner wounded child, helping it feel safe, helping it learn to forgive from the soul's perspective, though they feel very locked out, impoverished, and on their own, spiritually speaking, so that in their career they can really juggle this balance and find the balance that it's okay to both be afraid and brave as they find their way to and through this crossroads as the hero, getting so clear about what they want instinctively, intuitively, bringing all of this information as that child heals. And the bully is aware of the fears that are intimidating them, so they can walk through the tides and the clouds of the moon forward in their work, career, and vocation for January and February 2021. So motivate. And so it is. I have to say, that's the best one I've done, I think, in a while, where it's so clear. That is so clear. And look, I am available not just for readings, but for spiritual counseling. I do it every day. That's why I'm not putting out as many videos, because I do it every day. I'm really easy to book. Just find me on Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook, find me on Instagram or drop me an email, but put reading or spiritual counseling in the title so it grabs my eye, because there's a lot of spam coming in nowadays. So I got to sort through it all. So if you liked the video, please like it. You want more, subscribe, and comment, because this is worth commenting on. And I always read the comments, and if you get a thumbs up and a heart at the same time, that's me. Yeah. Otherwise, wishing you all the very, very best and the very, very blessed in your work, career, vocation, my Leonines. I love you. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.